Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Brees. This is A New View, and what we try to do here is try to find fresh perspectives and truths about things that we've been talking about for decades, but we just need something new. And we've got a topic here today, and I don't think there's a woman in America, actually probably a person in America, who doesn't relate to this. And I've got some cool people here sitting with me today. This one right here, I've known her for a long time. This is my amazing, incredible daughter, Sailor. And she has agreed to sit in with us today and talk about this because you're 20 and you can speak for so much of America right now.
Yes.
And my dear friend, Gina Webb, who is a master herbalist. Let me get all this straight. She was a creator of an organic, incredible restaurant called the Moringa Tree. If you're anywhere near White House, Tennessee, do yourself a favor and go visit that place. She has 10 kids. Yes, you heard me right. 10 kids that she has raised and homeschooled and raised so beautifully. And now you have a new dream, the Grace Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, well, it kind of piggybacks on our cooperative that we had for the past like 14, 15 years in the White House area. But it's going to be like a hybrid homeschooling option. So it could be like 3 days a week where kids can come and learn hands-on skills. They plan their garden and what crops they're going to plant and harvesting and preparing them. And plus like just being outside more, outside of the classroom and trying to interact with like local entrepreneurs and businessmen and things like that so they can learn the trades and they can learn everything from like a biblical God loving perspective. But yeah.
That is incredible. And she's promised me they're going to do adult classes so I can go back to school,
absolutely.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what we're talking about today is our relationship with food. Okay. And I just want to start out with Sailor because this whole kind of sparked with me. I'd already been thinking about it, but then something that you said to me the other day really made me stop and think about it deeply. And I just want to give a little backstory on you. You're about to be 20, just starting your career. She's
Yes.
a makeup artist for film and television, just excited about life.
www.signaturesailor.com.
So shameless plug. But the one thing that I've always said about you is that we named you well because your name is Sailor Anna and you have sailed through life.
Yes.
You never take life too seriously. You're always just kind of even keeled and chill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you and I had this discussion the other night and it shocked me because I did not see this coming. Mm-hmm. So I want you to share kind of what we talked about.
Well, I have always been emotional about food. Anytime I've talked about struggling with food, but more so like trying to not struggle with food.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of having an anxiety about food makes me cry every time. And I told you.
And you're not a crier.
I'm not a crier. I'm not a crier.
You're
but
not that
there's
emotional.
There's very few things that I start talking about it and I'm waterworks. But I told you one day that I was at work. I work at a coffee shop. We sell bagels and we sell lots of food. But I was super hungry and all day long I thought about, I want a bagel so bad. But I have told myself bagels are bad. I'm going to get fat if I eat a bagel. And so by the end of the shift, I caved.
You're starving.
Yes.
You didn't eat enough before you went to work.
Well, and it's a 5-hour shift that starts at 12 o'clock. So you have to eat between 12 and 5.
Right.
But I convinced myself it was bad. And by the end of the shift, I caved. I ate the bagel. And then I wanted to come home and cry because I was so mad at myself because I ate the bagel and I'm going to get fat now.
But what an important part of that is you did get very emotional, but you were talking to a friend of yours who's dealt with an eating disorder. And
so many friends.
Yeah. It's so common.
Yes.
And I didn't even realize that of the friends that you have.
Yes.
But what was kind of the thought process when you talked to that person?
Well,
obviously they've been through some
Right.
therapy over it,
Right.
because
And they
of it.
said no food is good or bad. And that's sort of what they're taught, is that you can't think of yourself as a bad person for eating this food, because no food is good or bad. It's made for us. But the thing is, this world has turned so many good foods into bad foods, into poison for us.
Yeah.
And so for her to say that, it made me mad, because I'm like, no, there is bad food, and there is, and I feel like the more I learn about food, the more I learn what's in the food, it makes me not want to eat. Because it's like, I ate a bar the other day that is like protein, it's healthy, it's, there's, 5 or 6 ingredients, but it's still not good. Like like I put it in my Fitness Pal, and it's this much fat, this much sugar, this much this. And so it's like I thought I was doing myself a favor by finding a healthy snack. And then I come to find that it's not healthy. And then that makes me not want to eat.
The amount of times that she and I will be standing in the kitchen, and we have a bar in the middle of the kitchen, and we're just walking in circles. I don't know what to eat. I don't know what to eat. Don't eat anything. No, I don't want to do that. So that it's the head spin. It's the head spin. So I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah,
on that feeling
that's
when you
major.
hear 20-year-olds talking?
I know, it's so sad. I mean, and it comes back to like your education, and what we've been trained to do. And I just, again, this is why I homeschool. I homeschool because I want my kids to understand where food comes from and the importance of giving their body the fuel that their body needs. Like, you wouldn't put, recycled trash into your, really expensive car. You would want to give it the best fuel. Well, our bodies are very expensive vehicles. But if we feed it trash, we're going to feel like trash. But we don't have to have, like, to look at food like there's no good, or food is just neutral. That's so wrong.
Right.
Because food can be so inflammatory and damaging and cancer causing and all the things. But it's like you said, once you know what's in the food and how it's made and what they're doing to the food industry, you have no desire to be a part of it. Like, I can go into McDonald's and I'm not tempted by anything in there because I'm looking at it through my Superman vision. Like, I see, I can't unsee what I know about the food industry. I can't just go in there and have a burger and think, oh, this is fine. Because in my mind, I'm listing all of the toxic poison ingredients that would be in this and the ways that they treat the animals and all the other parasites and other things that might be in it. And I'm like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for that 1 minute to have something. And to me, it doesn't even taste good, because once you've trained, the problem with the food industry is that, I mean, it's not a problem to them because they make a lot of money, but they put all these additives and chemicals and preservatives in it to trick our brains into wanting it. And so they test it against like aborted fetal cells and other things to test and make sure that it will be addictive or that your brain will register it in a certain way. And so it's like your brain is so tricked into thinking that this fake food is good. But if you brought the same food to a traditional food culture who had never had processed food, they probably wouldn't eat it because it tastes like junk. I mean, it doesn't even taste real. And so it's like, once you you unwrap all that toxic training out of your brain and you start having real food, your relationship with food is amazing. Like, I love food. I think food is amazing, and you should love food too. But I mean, I don't want to love like the bagel from the coffee shop because I know that it's full of all kinds of dough enhancers and like glyphosate, and like, I'm just not going to go there, So like you said, it's your lens, and I can fast for 5 hours if I need to, but you probably shouldn't do it every day. It'll mess with your blood sugar, and then you'll have these crazy thoughts all the day long. So like, bringing yourself a snack or eating before or after is always a smart thing. But again, like you said about the pacing around in the kitchen, we have not trained ourselves on how to plan, how to menu plan, how to plan for food. And I think it's a lost art for women. And because we generally are the ones feeding our families and taking care of the kids or ourselves. And so like, to have that skill of menu planning and like having things prepped, I can't think of anything more stressful than coming home and not knowing what's for dinner. And I have people to feed. Like, that is so stressful to me. And so way back when I think we were on 4 kids, and I was like, I've got to know how to plan the day for food because I can't just live in the kitchen the whole day. I got to homeschool, I got other things to do. So I need to have a plan. So then I don't feel so stressed about it. And so I made this like chart where I just put like this dry erase board on my fridge, and then it has every day of the week, and then I just put breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I would spend like Sundays, because I love to just look around for recipes and just have fun, and on Sundays I would relax. I'd go through like Pinterest or different things and just look for fun, appealing ideas. And then I would write them on like a whole sheet of paper. And then from that like idea sheet, I would then just kind of match it up with what I wanted to do. To make it even easier, I would make categories for each day of the week. So like say Sundays were going to be my soup and salad day, just to make it easy. I don't want to cook, or, it could be leftover day or whatever. Mondays could be like roast and potatoes day, or Monday or Tuesdays might be Taco Tuesday. Wednesday sometimes was like something chicken and rice or whatever. We have like a Mexican night on Thursdays. Fridays always pizza, and then Saturdays
A good pizza.
Like
Yes.
a pizza from the Mega
People
Tree.
hear pizza.
Yes.
They're like, oh, okay.
Yes. Well, and like
Yeah.
your bagel, like everything that you love to have, you can have it in a healthy way. So like when we were talking about donuts earlier, I mean, my 13-year-old has made donuts, and he has made them with the gluten-free flour that's like almond and cassava and coconut. And then the glaze is like a succulent or honey or maple syrup glaze. And so like, and then we're using our duck eggs, and I mean, it's like a real treat, but it's also nourishing for your body, and you're not going to compromise your health.
Yeah.
And so all these foods that we do love, they all had an original variation that was not toxic, that wasn't full of chemicals and all the crazy stuff that they put in our food industry now.
And I think
so
that's it,
yeah.
is people don't understand that the word donut,
Yeah.
it's not terrible, but we just have to get it back to where it was meant to be.
Yes.
Where you could actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Something you said a while ago made me realize okay, when we talk about the deception of the way we've been taught about food, when you talk about friends that are actually dealing with eating disorders, something just hit me. What a cycle it is that you spend your entire life being told, don't eat this, do eat this. And so you create that terrible confusion. Okay. What you do eat is terribly bad for you. So then you develop these insecurities, this confusion, this just struggle with food, which then turns into an eating disorder, which then you go for therapy. And what does the therapy say to you? Eat everything.
Right.
And
so
that's not
what a
gonna help.
vicious cycle we're all on.
Yeah.
And how many people never even define an eating disorder? They just go through life struggling with it,
Right.
and so they never even try to find a solution for it.
Right. And
You
there's
know?
so many people around me that have been to the facilities and have sort of like actually been diagnosed, and they start out of trying to protect you, start trying to diagnose you. And they mean no harm by it, but they're like, maybe you need help. Maybe you need to.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Just suggesting, well, maybe you have an eating disorder when you
Right.
don't.
When you
Right.
don't, yeah.
When
so
it's
putting
not-
that little bug in there
Yeah.
kind of creeps in some doubt when you're young
And
like
then-
that. You're
yeah.
impressionable.
And when it's so common, it's just like, should I get help? Is this a real, like,
Yeah.
you know,
You
when,
start doubting yourself.
right. And so,
Yeah.
but then,
Gosh.
going wouldn't fix your relationship with food.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
because you already know that you know what they're going to tell you.
Right.
And that's not where you want to be. Now, me as a mom, and I'm sitting back thinking, where did I go wrong? Like, why does she feel this way? Why is there such an anxiety with food?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I know why. Because right about 6, 7 years old, she's watching me in full combat, dealing with, you know, gaining weight, trying to be healthy and trying to raise a family and trying to, my attempt of, you know, healthy meals at night and things like that. Well, no wonder they start out like that.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so just to kind of help define, I mean, when we think of spiritually, if we could explain to your age and my age and beyond, just the spiritual deception that we have to understand. I mean, God created food just like He created sunshine and water and
Right.
air that we breathe. Those
Yeah.
things are just as essential, just as important. but for whatever reason, we have villainized food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in your words, what do you think? What's the enemy done with our food?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy in America.
Especially
I mean,
in America.
especially in
Yeah.
America.
Right.
But I mean, it's just, I mean, from making it all toxic, but then like if you want to bring in the emotional component of it, I think just like this whole perfect look battle too of like women having to look a
yes.
certain way.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess that would probably have come in around TV, around the time of TV, and just like, and social media has made it like explode
Yeah.
because now, you know, kids are getting phones in their hands at such a young age. And I just think it's so detrimental to their health when they have like self-image to learn about themselves. And now they have to contend with how people look all around the world on a perfect camera, like, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
with filters and like,
They took 72 shots
Yeah.
and they picked the one
yeah,
perfect
exactly.
one.
And it's like, how can anybody measure up to any of that?
Mm-hmm.
But then, so they have this like image of what they're supposed to look like, which changes all the time for a woman. Like, we are constantly gaining and losing weight because of the way that we were designed. Men are not the same way generally. Like, they could decide to fast and go work out and they'll lose weight, no problem.
Yep.
A woman, she decides to fast and go work out, she'll probably gain weight because of the hormone imbalance going on, you know? So it's like,
Yep.
we can't do the same things that you would think would help you to lose weight. And we think it's so important and we focus on it so hard, you know what I mean? And then we're transmitting that to the next generation, you know? And so they're watching us going, well, I can't eat this stuff because then I'll gain weight. And I mean, ultimately,
And I've
that's the
watched
whole
Mama
reason why you
yeah.
don't want to eat as a woman is because you don't want to get fat.
Right. And all the do's and don'ts and diets.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and there's so
plans,
many
like,
things.
And they
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
All the
contradict
fad
each
diets.
It's going to
other.
be different than Thursday.
Right.
What's
Yep.
the one thing you've heard this week? What are you supposed to be doing?
I don't even know. I guess fasting, like,
Fasting's
But-
great.
okay.
That's
do
good.
that.
Yeah.
But
Can't do it all
But
the
do we
time
do
though.
paleo? Do we do
Yeah.
maybe don't fast 5 hours a day while you're at work. Like,
Yeah.
And then you get you get it so clear in your mind. This is what I'm going to do. It's going to be a healthy keto. I'm going to be intermittent fasting. Blah 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 blah. And then I mention it to one of my parents, and they go, "Moderation is key.
yes.
Eat what you want."
Yes.
And I'm,
That
Enjoy
doesn't
it.
help me. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
life.
Yeah.
And I've always laughed. This has been my joke with my husband that I could live on 800 calories a day, run 28 miles a week, exercise every single day, and he can cut out a Dr. Pepper every other Thursday. We'll both lose 5 pounds.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
just
I mean,
unfair.
that's men and women.
Yeah.
That's the difference,
It's
you
very
know.
different.
So
Yeah.
I thought about this. Another part of the deception that we deal with is there's too much food. There's too
Oh,
much
we have
food.
so much food in America.
yeah,
It's so ridiculous.
If we lived in a world where
Make it
we
simple.
had a white t-shirt and gray pants, we'd never worry about what we had on. If we lived in a world where we ate meat and potatoes every single day, would we worry about food? No.
Right.
Because it would just
There's too many options.
be part of what we do.
There are way too many options.
I remember I met a missionary, and she'd been in another country for months, and she was telling me, I said, when you came back to the States, what was the biggest culture shock for you? And she said, oh, without a doubt. She said, where I was, food was scarce. And so you ate what was before you and you enjoyed every bit of it because you were
Right.
so happy to have it. And she said, when I came back here and the first time I went to a supermarket, she said, I stopped and I looked around and I saw the bright lights, the 17 different kinds of cereal. She said, I literally had a mental breakdown in the middle of the store. She said, I just stood there and cried because the chaos, the anxiety that I felt coming back to America. And I thought, wow. And we call it prosperity. We
Right. Mm-hmm.
call it,
Right.
this is
Good life.
This
Yeah.
is the place to be, right?
Yeah.
So where have we gone wrong in that
Yeah.
aspect, and how can we come back to center a little bit? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just the hardest part is seeing all the, this is healthy, this is healthy, this is healthy, good protein, good, no sugar,
All natural.
all the things. And even like the organic things, it's like, that's the hardest part
Yeah.
Mhm.
because,
You can get an organic Oreo. Does that mean it's good for you?
Mhm.
right, it's
Mhm.
like, how are we supposed to get food, And it's
Mhm.
like,
It's
I mean,
and it's not at your fingertips. The good
Right.
stuff is not at
Oh,
your
it's harder to
fingertips.
get.
As it should be.
But I think that that's a good thing, honestly, because the supermarket is the easy way out. You know, if
Mhm.
everything that we want, if we can go and get it it doesn't mean anything to us. So like, I mean, honestly, to answer, if we can go back to being simplistic, buying from your local farmer, going to your market, the farmer's market, that's what people do in other cultures. Like they go to the market almost daily to go get what they want and trade or buy or whatever, and it's just whatever's available, whatever happens to be in harvest right now, that's what you can get. And so it's not, if you try to avoid all of the other places inside the store and avoid all the processed food, that's where the confusion is in all the marketing of their product. If you take out all the products, it's very simple. You just have produce and you have meats, you have nuts, seeds, you have grains, you can make your own bread or do whatever or not. Like you don't have to. You could just do brown rice and quinoa or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you try to take away all of the brands, it makes it so much easier to navigate your food. Then you can just enjoy whole foods, real foods, the way that God intended, and feel good about it, because you're not going to eat brown rice and chicken and gain tons of weight. You know what I mean? You're going to, you need the good grains and the whole grains and things like that to feed your microflora. And if you don't have good microbes, they don't, I was just like reading about it again to refresh my memory, but your mucosal lining in your gut is so important. And if we don't feed the microbes that keep that lining in gear, then they send out inflammatory markers throughout our body. And that's what starts to age us. And we start to have, neurological degeneration, your skin starts to degenerate, your immune system starts to generate heart, cardiovascular problems, and all that because of your gut. Like all your health begins in your gut. So like if we can just simplify it, then you can actually enjoy your food. You can enjoy making the food, purchasing the food. Like I love going to farmers markets. I just love it. I just love meeting the farmers
Just
and
the
talking to the
atmosphere.
vendors.
Just
The atmosphere. You're
Right.
outside, you're seeing they're excited about their product. I mean, they put their heart and soul into that product.
Right.
It's not like just some marketing company and you go into the store and you're like, this is so overwhelming, I want to cry.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what to buy here. That is so, like, you could just close that off. I mean, during the winter, I know it's a little harder. There's no markets and things like that, but just sticking with like the produce
that's a new
section,
idea. An indoor
a indoor
market.
market would be
Yeah.
phenomenal. I mean, just we're coming up to May, so May is when farmers markets are going to be out and about, and it'll be amazing. But
It's the best
it's
time of
great.
year.
You just have your little baskets, and you're just walking through, grabbing what you need just for the week, and
and create from what you have.
yeah.
One thing I would say, talking to Sailor and just talking about, she's ready to launch. She's ready to start her life. And we sat down not long ago and I said, how do you picture your life? And it was amazing to hear you say it. And it made me realize something, that this generation, they're coming back to center. We had it, I'm ashamed to say mine had it all messed up, because we came out of the TV tray kids. We were the latchkey kids. We were the ones that, we came out of school, went straight to college, and went straight to work. We're trying to backpedal now. We're trying to understand where we want to change things. But listening to her talk about what she wants for her future is incredible to me. But describe how you see family life.
Yes. I want to live on a farm, grow my own vegetables. I want so badly for peace in my home. I don't want to be running all over the place, sports and, always busy. I want to be able to make a home cooked meal every single night. Like I want to be a traditional wife. And it has become a trend to be a trad wife. That's what they're calling
That's so
it.
funny.
And it's like,
that's what I've been doing for 20-something years.
right?
Yeah.
And it's become like,
Cool. Wish God had thought of that.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's how we all feel about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But we didn't do it. Yeah.
And it's
So we're
become a
coming
trend
back.
to think that way.
That's so
but
fun.
people, I feel like, don't truly mean it or don't truly, I don't know.
It's
but
not. It's not a genuine. Like you genuinely want that. I feel that you do. I mean, we even talked about choosing a career, and I told her, I said, don't ever tell your friends I said this, but this is reality. I asked her, I said, what do you truly want in life? And she said, I want children, I want a husband, I want a farm, and these things. And I said, well, if you choose a career, choose something that works with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of the opposite.
Right.
Instead of making your family fall into line, with your career. Absolutely not, because that's not where joy is, and it took me
No.
20 years to figure that out.
That's so hard.
That's what took me 20 years to figure out. So
Yeah.
so that's where we are. So I see beautiful things happening
That's
with
so,
her
yeah.
generation, and
Mhm.
gosh, with the
That's so
dreams that you
awesome.
have, and oh, what I would give to have had a school like that to send my kids to.
No, but you can have grandkids,
That's
and
true.
you
That's
know,
true.
like
They'll be
there's
going.
redemption, man.
That's, I mean, it just
Like,
seems like a
grandkids are gonna be
dream
great.
to me, you know, because you know, looking back, and this is off subject from the food, but my sweetest memories of childhood are church camp. And it was hot and sweaty and nasty, and you had to walk up this 3-mile hill to get to the pool, and they were the sweetest memories because we
Right.
were outside, and it was as pure as it could be, you
You
know.
were just connected.
Everything, yes.
Yeah.
Everything was just turned
great.
off. And so we're going to do a part 2 of this, because we've talked about the deception, we've talked about what's gone wrong, and I want to talk about how we can find solutions.
Yeah.
So everybody stick around, because you're not going to want to miss this.